Hello everyone, myself Vinod Kumar Reddy Habatam. Today I'm gonna talk about code execution for this particular architecture which we have discussed in the previous video. So the code execution I will be walking just through the code that I have developed to run this particular architecture. So let's go ahead and have a look at the code. So here, if you just observe, we have three particular layers. One is landing. We'll be using the Azure Data Factory to load the data to landing. So in this particular case, we have already mounted the data. So let's skip this step and work on bronze, silver, and gold. So we will be working on extracting the data from landing to bronze, bronze to silver, and silver to gold. So this is what we're gonna discuss about in this video, and please take a look. So I have a particular use case for a company called NB Sales. So this particular company now they want to use the Databricks, and they have, let's say, approached us to create the Databricks ELT. So first thing is, as I already told you, we have the data that is already available. We have already mounted it, and let's check that data. Okay, and let's connect to a cluster. Okay. So if you could see here, there should be the data. Let's wait for a minute. And before the data comes over here, let me explain about this, right? We have a notebook created for landing to staging and from staging to curated. Okay, it's a separate notebook, and we have created one more for loading from curation to data warehouse. And remember one thing, we'll be always creating a separate notebook to load a fact table. And we do have a two fact tables, and one for the sales, one for the cost, and we have created a separate notebooks for each of them. So this is how the notebooks are created. And then we will be having utilities. In the utilities, we will be having DDL scripts to create the database, and functions that we'll be using in this particular project, and the libraries that we'll be using in this particular project, and then the PySpark schema just predefined before predefined for loading from landing to staging. So all these notebooks we'll be using, and we do have one more notebook, NB Sales Automation, where we'll be executing all of these notebooks one after other. Okay. And as I told you, here is a list of files that we have already available in our landing, so we don't have to worry about this. And we'll be let's go and create the DDL scripts, right? Okay, let's talk about execution of this DDL scripts. First thing is, I would like to remove if there are anything in the warehouse or something. Okay, and then I would like to create all the databases over here. Okay, that is removed, and I would like to create all the databases. But one thing I would like to do here is I would like to remove the location part. This one I have created just for because if I'm using the Azure data lake, then I have created and mounted this. That's why. Right now I don't have anything, so I'm just removing the I think I need to remove this as well. Yeah, I'm sorry for that. Okay, and let me try to remove all the databases first and then recreate it. Okay, what's happening over here? Okay, location. Yeah, I'll try to remove this location as well. Sorry, guys. Okay, is there a location again? Yeah. Okay, and I'll try to create all the databases. Um, like one is for staging, curation, DW, logs, and the jobs. And I'll try to create the tables one after the other in each of the databases. Okay, so this is kind of executing and showing you everything in a particular project that we're going to do. And yeah, it is creating the databases over there. So yeah, and we'll see all the jobs. Yeah, that's done. And I'll be creating the staging tables now. So I'll be just creating the tables in the staging, and then warehouse. uh, Okay, yeah, still going on. This is data warehouse. This will execute after that. Let's let me go a bit slow. So you try to create one script just for loading the data and all those stuff. Otherwise, it's gonna be difficult for you to manage. And then that is executed now, and we'll see this table is going to, yeah, this particular cell is going to execute. Okay, going on. Once this is done, I just have to create one for DW, and that's it. And we can move ahead and start looking into the code and then execution things. Okay, I think this is done too. There's one more that is left. This is for the data frame. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is for curation database. Okay. After doing this, I'll be creating a log table, um, and then I'll be loading the I'll be and also a metadata table for the jobs to load the data, and I will be loading the metadata into the table. So in a way that will help us to dynamically execute our code while um, in any environment. Okay. Yeah, this is done. I'll be creating this table as well. Yeah, it's going on. That's done. And I'm just inserting the data into this particular table. It's going on. Once this is done, I think we're almost completed with the DDL scripts. Okay, executing it. Okay, we have a lot of data to insert, so that's why it is taking a bit of a time. This is done, and I'll just see whether the data got inside it. Oh yeah, data is there, and I'll go ahead and start talking about landing to staging. So, guys, in the case of landing to staging in any notebook, so since we have utilities, we'll be first running the notebooks in the utilities to import the particular libraries, to import the particular functions which is used across. Okay, and maybe yeah, I need to just Delta Lakehouse dynamic project. I just have to rename this, otherwise that's not gonna work out. Okay, and that's gonna fail because yeah, everywhere. So I have a limit of 10. minutes for recording the video. In the previous video, I have recorded before creation of the DDL scripts, creation of databases and all. In this video, I wish walking you through NV sales landing to staging and maybe if possible some other things as well. So as I told you, in the utilities, we have created the libraries. We should be executing the libraries. We should be executing the functions. Once this is executed, we should be executing the PySpark schema because while loading the data from landing to staging, we should be having this created. And this is to create the widgets, and we have already created the one-time widgets. We don't need to create this again. Okay, and then this is to get the PySpark schema. But one thing is, since I have not provided any parameters over here, so it won't execute, and I will just walk you through the code. Then when we are trying to execute this from the dynamic notebook, it works directly. We don't have to worry about that. So basically, it just says about which schema. If this is this schema, then assign this schema and all those stuff. This is using a function. So once a function is done, we'll be using this particular function again to join file path, folder name, and the file name. Once that is joined, we will be reading the CSV. So let's go to function read CSV in the utilities. Okay, that's the first one. So if you could see here, I'll be reading the schema from the schema that is passed through to this. And I will be saying consider null value has null, and I will say ignore white spaces, trailing and leading, and then header true and all those stuff. With this, and also add corrupt column and input file name. So basically, whenever we're reading and providing the predefined schema, if there is any corrupt record, it will actually move that corrupt record which is not matching the schema to this particular column. So that's how we define this. Okay, and once that is done, it will resend that data from back to our main notebook. So once that is done, so we'll be okay, we'll be landing to staging, sorry. Yeah. Once that is done, we will be actually looking at length and breadth of the columns, take that length and breadth and add the audit columns. Audit columns are last edit date, last update date, and all those stuff to this particular data frame, which will be used in the later point of time while loading from staging to curated. So first of all, as I told you, for any data frame, if you have to perform any actions in the Spark, like if you have to use it, then you have to cache it. Otherwise, you have to perform action. Otherwise, nothing will happen in the Spark. That's the reason we'll be caching that particular data frame, and then we'll be checking. We'll be separating the bad arrows using this particular code. If you could see here, and then we'll be moving that and writing that to a logdb job bad data log. Okay, and then we will be filtering this corrupt record columns and unnecessary columns from the data frame and then storing it back to the main data frame. Okay, basically in any CSV file this happens. So that's the reason we'll try to keep bad data rows and the good data rows, and we'll try to load that bad data rows to other table which will be appending over here, and good data rows to the other table which will be shown over here. Okay, now that we'll be unpersisting that particular data frame, and then we'll be using that data frame to write into a database name dot table name which will be passed dynamically over here. Got it, right? So you will be first reading the file using the function, doing some transformations, removing the spaces and a predefined structure. If the structure is not matching, that will be moved to a bad data row. If that is moved to a bad data row, then the rest of the other things will be moved to main data frame, and then that will be returned into a table. So this you could see everywhere I'm using the particular widgets. It is like a parameters. I'm not using anything since it's landing to staging, and this can be used completely dynamic. Yes. And it will be very, very useful to create a particular notebook in this fashion. And it's easy for us, for all of us to actually maintain the things. So apart from that, if you could see, there are other functions like function log append. This particular function will be appending the logs, and then it will be writing into a log table, which we have already created. All these functions are defined in the utility cell. Okay, and in the end, we'll be dumping all the counts uh, of the rows, but for a particular job ID. This will be used actually for pipeline logging, but in this particular case, we're just we have not integrated anything with Azure right now in this video, so we'll be skipping that particular part. Okay, in the next video, I'll talk about loading from staging to curated. Thank you. Hello everyone. In this video, we'll talk about loading from staging to curated, and also we'll talk about loading from curated data warehouse only for the dimensions first. So here I have created another notebook for loading from staging to curated, and I have created all the widgets which is required. Like I need a staging table, I need a primary key, and I need a, curation table and database name, and I need a primary key along with the job name and the job ID. So as I already told you, we'll be again executing, we'll be actually fetching all the libraries, functions which are required in this particular notebook, um, which is created in the utilities. Once it is imported, so we'll be having this widgets which says one time. So if you could see, if we are passing the database name and table name dynamically, we'll be taking this and storing, we'll be doing a select star from database name dot table name and storing it into a data frame. Once it is loaded into a data frame, in the case of staging to curated, we have created two functions. Okay, one is validating the null data, whether I can remove null data if it is available in the staging table. Another is removing the duplicated data. So these are the two transformations that will apply here. And this is just a sample. We'll be having a lot more transformation to do. This is just a sample. Yes. So we'll be calling these two functions, passing the data frame, and then it will try to validate whether those particular null data or duplicate data is available. If null data and duplicate data is available, we'll be calling another function, remove null and duplicate data, and then passing the staging table name and the staging primary column, and then remove them, and then storing it into another data frame. Okay, this is what we're going to do here. Once that is done, we'll be creating a view for that particular data frame, and once the view is created, we'll be using that actually. See, for example, if there is any primary, if there is any table which is having more than one primary key columns used, we'll be using this particular function, this particular code to split it so that it will actually create the code like this. So what we will do, we'll be reading the table, we'll be doing the necessary transformation, and then we'll be creating, using that particular data frame, we'll be creating a temporary view, and then create one more column for the where class to come up with a dynamic where class, and then use that to do a merge to the table. So here in the merge as well, if you could see, we're passing everything dynamically, merge into 0 1, like database name dot table name, and then the where class that we try to split or create over here. So that's how dynamically we have to create. Okay, once that is done, we will take the row count, and we try to um, uh, actually validate once everything is validated, we try to actually load the once this merge is in this merge, we'll do a insert or update, and we'll take the row count and all those stuff in this particular notebook. So this is how we normally do in the case of staging to curated, but don't take it for granted. This may vary from project to project, and this is what I have done personally for myself. Okay, and let me try to show you how we are loading the data from curation to data warehouse. So for the curation to data warehouse, again I am creating the widgets for the curation database name, curation table name, primary key, and then data warehouse database name, table name, and the primary. Okay, and then I'll import libraries, I'll import functions, and then I'll be again reading the data from this database name dot table name and storing it into a data frame. Okay, since we'll be kind of creating keys in the case of uh, data warehouse, we'll be using SHA2 MD5. We'll be using SHA2 256 for creating a particular key, and then we'll be adding a new column to the data frame. If you could see here, there's a new column, and that new column, this is the only thing that we're doing. But believe me, there will be a lot of transformations that we'll be doing from loading from the curation to data warehouse. This is very, very simple code. Okay, once that is done, we'll be creating our create a replace view, and we'll be again doing the same thing that we have done in the curation thing, like splitting the primary keys and doing the merge. So everything over here, if you could see, is all dynamic. If you see data warehouse name, table name, where clause, everything is dynamic. But this, so it looks almost similar from loading to staging to DWH, storing to curated, but we'll be storing all the history while loading from staging to curated, and from curated to DWH, we'll be customizing the code, creating the aggregations. But in this particular case, this is a simple one, nothing more we have done. Okay. In the next video, I'll talk about the fact tables and also try to execute things dynamically. Okay, otherwise I'll just walk you through one fact table. So let's say I'm taking the cost fact. So if you could see, the main thing is here, while merging into, I'll be joining multiple tables. I'll be using the Spark SQL over here and extracting all the keys for the dimension tables and then storing it in the fact table. So this is the same case that is done for the cost fact as well. So this way, you try to use the Spark SQL to load the data, okay, and then using the do the merge join again. So that's how we'll do in the fact table. Okay, now we have understood most of the code. Here in the next video, I'll talk about complete running of the automation, and hope you will enjoy there. Okay, bye. Hello everyone, this is Vinod. So as I told you in the beginning, we can use this particular notebook to completely run the code dynamically. But the problem with this is, um, since the data is stored in this particular table, we're getting into a data frame. But the problem with this is this dbutils.run notebook.run will work only when you have an enterprise edition. It will not work when you don't have an enterprise edition. Since I'm using a community edition, so it won't work. So even if I run, if you could see there is data over here, even if I run here, I will get I will get an error. Okay. So illegal exception. So to enable notebook, I need to upgrade the Databricks subscription. So that's the thing. So is there any other way? Yes, there is any other way. Okay. What I'm doing here is I'm using this notebook to run individual notebooks. So I have created one more notebook called NB Sales Load Dynamic. With this notebook, I have created loading to staging to DW to data mode. So I can pause all the tables except the fact tables to load till data mode. And the code I have shown already is same present in this notebook. Let's try for one. I'm trying to execute for the countries, right? Like we are passing all these variables dynamically, percentage run, and then pass all the variable, like these are the widgets over there. For each widget, I'm passing the value like this. Okay, in the similar fashion, I have written the code to pass it to every notebook. Can you see this? Every notebook is for every notebook I have done this. Okay, in the end, if I want to run it again, so I have to pass it to another notebook. Say for example, for sales, cost fact and the sales fact. For those tables, I have not written everything in a single thing. So for that, I have different notebooks from landing to staging, staging to curation, and curation to DWH. So I can go on running them separately like this. So for now, we'll just see if this got executed for one particular thing. Yes, this got executed and the data is loaded for this particular notebook. Okay. So like that, we can execute the things directly. But remember one thing, this may not be a suitable scenario when you are trying to use the enterprise edition of the notebook. Enterprise edition of the notebook, we have to pass the things dynamically, then only things will work. Okay, so that's how we need to plan. Okay, I'm running this as well and it is taking time. Let's watch this. Okay, yeah, going on. Okay, yeah, it is performing the merge operation, writing the file. You can see all those things over here. Okay, it is running code, and let's see. Finally, once this is done, we'll try to clear the cache. Okay, otherwise it may throw some error. Okay, let's watch completely for this particular thing for the product. Okay, you could see how it starts running the command snapshot for version 3, and then it is trying, it will load. You could see that, right? How many jobs it is running, right? So it's running almost like 25 to 30 jobs for each of the file whenever it is trying to load, because it has to load from landing to staging, staging to curation, curation to data mart. So that's the reason it is taking that much time. Okay, so you have to be very careful here. Here I'm passing everything. There's nothing that is left from landing zone to data warehouse zone. All the things I have passed along with the schema. So this is how you have to schedule and run the things in the particular project execution scenario, and hope this will help. This complete code execution that I am trying to explain over here will help. And this what I mentioned here. This is completely for the enterprise edition. You can just run the enterprise edition with this in this way, and you can even parallelly run these things actually. Okay. Hope you all guys enjoyed watching this end-to-end project execution, code execution. Thank you. Bye bye.